The new book has been released, embarking on an endless journey from Douluo. My name is Lu Chen, and I am a time traveler. However, I do not have a system, nor am I like Tang San's martial arts brother, who possesses all his unique skills. However, my martial soul is an infinite gem, ha ha ha. Soul Masters of Douluo continent, are you ready to welcome your great demon king? This is a story about using one's martial soul to prank people in Douluo continent. This book doesn't lick Tang San, doesn't boast, doesn't worship the master. Let's see how Lu Chen uses infinite gems to cross, parody, Douluo continent. P.S. The book title is also called Journey Through the Heavens starting from Douluo and Douluo. Shura Field, keywords of the novel. Douluo Jua's martial soul is an infinite gemstone without a pop-up window. Douluo Jua's martial soul is an infinite gemstone. Download the complete set of TXT. Douluo Jua's martial soul is an infinite gemstone. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Without the system, I am panic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Without the system, I am panic. Holy Soul Village. The sky is dimly lit, and chickens crow and dogs make noise. The vast white mist covered the entire village, like a paradise in the world. A child wearing coarse linen clothes kept wandering in front of a wooden house. This is playing with me. It has been almost 6 years since I traveled to the Douluo world, and tomorrow is the day when my martial soul awakens. Isn't it said that all the travelers have golden fingers or systems? Why does my system refuse to see me for a long time? In my past life, I was just an abandoned house. All I knew was to stay in a rented house and play games, and to be a pianist in Zuan. What if the awakening of the martial soul is like a keyboard? If the sky doesn't give birth to me, the key Douluo, the key way will last forever like a long night. Key here. With only one mouth, fight 3,000 emperors alone, and push 19 continents horizontally with double keys. If there are no true immortals in the world, I am willing to hold the key and transform into immortals. After having a keyboard, there will be heaven, and I will spray the heavens and the gods back. No, 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 the keyboard martial soul is also too low. Can we only hold Tang San's thigh? Lu Chen looked at the wooden house in front of him and fell into contemplation for a moment. No, although there is no system, it's possible that a powerful martial soul will awaken. If that's the case, then there's no need to lick Tang San. Even if it's a useless martial soul, can't it still rise with my modern thinking? With this thought in mind, Lu Chen's mood suddenly improved a lot and he pushed the door straight into Tang San's house. Xiaosanzi, is Xiaosanzi here? Tang San's home is very rudimentary, and what catches the eye are some old furniture. In theory, Tang Hao, as the only blacksmith in the Holy Soul village, should not have done so. However, he never emerged from the shadow of his deceased wife and has always hated his weakness and incompetence. He can only borrow wine every day to alleviate his worries. Ironsmith, do you know where the mistress has gone? Lu Chen walked to Tang Hao's room and watched him sleep on his side, snoring incessantly. The whole room was filled with a strong smell of alcohol, and the ground was covered with scattered wine bottles. Lu Chen frowned and quickly covered his nose, saying, "You're really an alcoholic. With so much money to drink, I don't know how to make my third son fatter. Look at how thin my third son is. Oh, a child without a mother is like a blade of grass." Tang Hao. Forget it, I'll go and don't look for it. Tang San's home has a total of 3 earthen embryo houses. The middle one is for daily living, the left miscellaneous room, and the right one is a thatched cottage. Without hesitation, Lu Chen walked towards the right side. In the early morning, of course, the first thing humans do is to use the toilet. Upon arriving at the door of the restroom, Lu Chen smirked and knocked on the wooden door, saying, "Is the mistress here? I have something to do with you." Tang San. Aren't you there? I happened to wake up this morning and haven't solved it yet, so I solved it here. Lu Chen was about to push the door and enter, but he heard Tang San's urgent voice coming from inside. I'm here, is that Lu Chen? What's up with you looking for me? Xiaosanzi, you're here. It's like this. I have something I want to discuss with you face-to-face, but I'm not sure if it's convenient for you right now. Tang San is in a hurry, can't you tell if it's inconvenient? I'm not available now. Isn't it convenient? Then I'll come in. Lu Chen placed his hand on the handle of the wooden door, wanting to push it in. Convenient, I'm convenient now. Tang San exclaimed anxiously, standing up slightly, holding his pants in one hand and pressing against the wooden door with the other. This posture made him feel ashamed and uncomfortable. But there's no way, if he doesn't stand against the wooden door, with his understanding of Lu Chen, he will definitely come in. He had never seen such a shameless person in his Tang and Tang dynasties. Xiaosanzi, didn't you say it's convenient now? What are you doing against the wooden door? You let me in. Lu Chen couldn't help but laugh uncontrollably in his heart, but he secretly exerted force on his hand. Looking at Tang San again, he was half squatting, with one hand holding pants and the other pressing against the wooden door. Even though he had practiced the Shentian treasure record much better than the current Lu Chen, he could not exert his strength at all. Lu Chen, can you talk about anything later? I'm not available right now. No way, mistress, this is a big deal that concerns my future, Lu Chen said seriously. Lu Chen. Now. It's really inconvenient. Tang San's face turned red with a suppressed expression, and his feet and hands trembled slightly. There was a slight distance between the pit and the door, and Tang San's hands could only barely reach the door. Now, he was not strong at all, but the power coming from the wooden door was increasing. In the end, the wooden door was pushed open by Lu Chen, and through the crack, Lu Chen saw Tang San's strange posture. At the peak of his life, Lu Chen couldn't help but laugh heartily. Upon seeing this, Tang San crouched down like lightning, his legs tightly clamped, and his face immediately turned black. The wooden door was opened, but Lu Chen did not enter and instead took 2 steps back. In the future, we still need to coexist. Without knowing what kind of martial soul to awaken, it's not easy to make Tang San too embarrassed. Young mistress. Tomorrow is the awakening ceremony of the martial soul, a turning point in life. Do you still have the mood to go to the bathroom? Tang San saw that Lu Chen had not come in, and in surprise, he let out a slight sigh of relief before saying, "Wait for me for a moment." In no time. Tang San walked out of the toilet, his face not very good looking, but Lu Chen ignored him and said directly, "Little mistress, tomorrow is the martial soul awakening ceremony. What should I do? I'm a bit panicked." Tang San looked at Lu Chen strangely and said with some confusion, "What's wrong with you today, Lu Chen? It's not like you usually do." "I know, usually I'm a bit arrogant and a bit damaged. But now, unlike in the past, the system is reluctant to see me, and I'm a bit panicked." "You're not just a bit arrogant and a bit damaged. Even though you're not my opponent, you always look like I'm the big brother." "But who is the system? Why doesn't it see you?" Tang San asked. "That's not the point, Saner. If my awakened spirit is not awesome, you can't forget me because we are the same village and grew up together. Lu Chen, you have to say some strange things again. After spending so much time together, I can tell at a glance that you are not an ordinary person. Tomorrow, the martial soul awakening ceremony will definitely be amazing." "Oh, I hope so. I'm probably the only one who's been a miserable passerby like me. It's really embarrassing." The disseminator. Tang San was puzzled and didn't understand what Lu Chen meant, but he didn't take it to heart because Lu Chen often said words and phrases that he didn't understand. "But I'm also curious about what kind of martial soul I will awaken tomorrow," Tang San said. "Young mistress, actually I can tell at a glance that you're not human." Tang San was puzzled, "I'm not human. What is that? Oh my God, are you still thinking about yourself? Leaving that aside, you've said before that you seem to have a special sense of blue-silver grass on the ground, so I guess your martial soul must be blue-silver grass. P.S. recommends my new book, starting from Douluo and embarking on an endless journey, end of this chapter. Chapter 2. Favorite braised rabbit meat made by Dad. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Favorite braised rabbit meat made by Dad. Upon hearing this, Tang Sanyi's face immediately collapsed and he said, "How could you curse me, Lu Chen? Even a 3-year-old child knows that blue-silver grass is a standard useless martial soul. To borrow what you once said, even if Tang San starves to death, don't waste his martial soul blue-silver grass." Upon hearing this, Lu Chen immediately smiled and said, "Sanner, be careful of the warning from Xinxiang. Don't say anything, Lu Chen. I absolutely can't believe what you said about the true fragrance law. There are countless types of martial souls, and the chance of awakening blue-silver grass is too low. I absolutely can't awaken a useless martial soul like blue-silver grass." Lu Chen smiled and nodded, saying, Okay, you're right. If it's not blue-silver grass, then I guess it should be a hammer." "Hammer? Why?" Tang San asked in confusion. "Isn't that obvious? Isn't your father a blacksmith? Look at the children in the village who have awakened the spirit of martial arts. They are either sickles or hoes, just like their parents' spirit of martial arts. So I guess your martial soul has a high chance of being a hammer." "Is it a hammer?" Tang Sanrua thought for a moment and then said with relief, "A hammer is not impossible. It can be used to create something I need." If that's the case, Lu Chen's martial soul should be a carrot, just like Jack's grandfather's. Carrots. I'm not old Jack's grandson. I was picked up by old Jack outside. My parents didn't know whether they were dead or not. Anyway, tomorrow is the Wulin awakening ceremony. If my Wulin is not awesome, don't forget me." Lu Chen said, patting Tang San on the shoulder, and then left directly. What should be said has already been said. Watching Lu Chen leave, Tang San breathed a heavy sigh of relief. As soon as he thought of his previous awkward posture, his face felt a bit hot. That posture was really shameful. Lu Chen is good everywhere, but it's too damaging. He often does incredible things beyond his normal cognition. "I don't think I saw that," Tang San murmured to himself, his right hand unconsciously blocking his crotch. His younger brother felt somewhat uncomfortable when someone looked at him. Under the sunshine, a gentle breeze blew by, and the mist that covered the entire Holy Soul village became slightly lighter than before. "Oh no, I forgot to make breakfast for my dad." As if he had thought of something, Tang San hurriedly walked towards the room. As soon as he entered the door, he was stunned by the scene before him. "Are you back?" Tang Hao glanced at Tang San and said indifferently. Then he ate the food on the table on his own, but his eyes were intentionally or unintentionally fixed on Tang San, watching his reaction. "Dad, is this?" Tang Sanyi looked at the sumptuous food on the table and was a bit confused. Where did all these dishes come from? "Sit down and eat." Tang San obediently sat down and looked at the sumptuous food on the table. Suddenly, he felt a little confused and didn't know how to start. Did all of this be done by his father? "Hey, Sanner, I have always been an incompetent father who didn't take good care of you. I hope you don't blame my father. Tomorrow you will attend the martial soul awakening ceremony. Since you want to become a soul master, Dad won't stop you either. He just hopes that no matter what the future holds, you will bravely walk on." Tang Hao looked at Tang San's bewildered expression and said with guilt. He owes Tang San too much. Seeing Tang San's body, which was thinner and weaker than his peers, he felt a deep sense of self-blame when he thought about his actions over the years. I just hope Tang San doesn't blame himself for hating him, and that this table full of braised rabbit meat can make up for his debt to him a little. "No, Dad," Tang San never blames Dad. Dad is my only relative in this world. Tang San knows that Dad must have some difficulties, and only hopes that Dad can come out of the fog early and pick himself up again. Good son, you've been suffering all these years. This morning, I caught a few rabbits and made a table full of braised rabbit meat for you. It's time for you to grow up and eat more. Rarely, Tang Hao extended his rough old hand deep inside and touched Tang San's head. Tang San was pleasantly surprised and felt a strong touch in his heart. Is this fatherly love? Is this the feeling of being cared for? This feeling is very good and warm. Looking at the table full of rabbit meat in front of him, Tang San felt warmth for the first time and immediately picked up a piece of braised rabbit meat and took a tearful bite. The taste is average, but Tang San thinks this is the most delicious braised rabbit meat he has ever tasted. Well, Dad, the braised rabbit meat you made is very delicious. Tang San's hand speed became faster and faster, and he quickly stuffed his mouth full. If it's delicious, you can eat more. Dad will make it for you another day. Looking at Tang San, who devoured the whole jujube, Tang Hao felt even more guilty about owing him too much over the years. Quickly, the father and son solved a table of braised rabbit meat. At that moment, the door was opened and the village chief, Old Jack, walked in. Good morning, Grandpa Jack. Tang San greeted. Xiao San is so good, you are such a sensible and good child. Old Jack said kindly to Tang San, and his face immediately changed. He turned to Tang Hao and said sternly, Tang Hao, your Tang San is 6 years old. You need to attend the martial soul awakening ceremony tomorrow. Don't be late. If we can produce soul masters in our holy soul village, it would be a good thing to honor our ancestors. It's better to be a soulful master than a chef, so that the mistress can cook for me, Tang Hao deliberately said. Otherwise, when Old Jack heard Tang Hao say this, he immediately became furious and shouted at Tang Hao with a carrot martial soul in his hand, Tang Hao. Don't insult the soul master, I want to fight you. Upon seeing this, Tang San immediately approached and pulled Grandpa Jack, saying, Grandpa Jack, please calm down. Dad intentionally said this. He has already agreed to let me attend tomorrow's martial soul awakening ceremony. Humph, that would be great. Tomorrow, I'll be waiting for you outside the church with Lu Chen. Don't be late. If we miss out, we'll have to wait for a year. If you and Lu Chen can both become soul masters, it's a good thing to honor our ancestors. Knowing Grandpa Jack, I will definitely not be late tomorrow, Tang Sancheng said earnestly. Well, I'll leave first. I also need to prepare breakfast for Xiaochen. Xiaochen, that child, has been smart since childhood and will definitely become a soul master tomorrow. He will definitely become a great soul master in the future, which is a good thing to honor his ancestors. As soon as Lu Chen spoke, the village chief, Old Jack, smiled with satisfaction. The most hopeful person in the entire Holy Soul village to become a soul master is undoubtedly Lu Chen, the grandson of his village elder Jack, and Tang San in front of him. But he is more optimistic about Lu Chen, because he is his grandson after all, even though he picked it up. P.S. Suddenly wanted to write about Douluo's fan, but I forgot a lot of the plot in the original work, and I haven't finished reading it at all. If there are any mistakes in the writing, I hope everyone can point them out so that I can make revisions. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Blind Douluo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Blind Douluo. The next morning. As the sky lit up, Lu Chen got up. As usual, the system he had hoped for did not appear. That is to say, whether we can criticize in the future, support each other, and leave immortal legends in the Douluo continent depends on today's martial soul awakening ceremony. Fortunately, it was Master Su Yuntao who traveled to the Holy Soul village and awakened the martial soul. Success or failure lies in this one move. Xiaochen got up. Old Jack came to Lu Chen's room and nodded in satisfaction when he saw that he had already woken up. Not bad. Today is the martial soul awakening ceremony. Xiaochen needs to work hard. If he can produce a soul master, then that's a good thing to honor our ancestors, Grandpa Jack. You've said it countless times. After a simple wash and breakfast, Lu Chen and old Jack set off for the Martial Soul Hall branch in Holy Soul Village. It is said to be a branch hall, but in fact, it is just a slightly larger wooden house. Lu Chen was not the first to arrive. Before him, all the 6-year-old children and their parents were waiting quietly outside the Martial Soul Hall. Ha! Where's the third child? Why hasn't he arrived yet? Old Jack glanced at the crowd and said. Probably making breakfast for his cheap dad. Nonsense, today is a very important day. He doesn't take it seriously at all. I have to go find Tang Hao to settle the accounts. Old Jack was very angry, and the carrot martial soul accidentally took it in his hand. Grandpa, why don't you stop tinkering? The third son will be here soon. Hasn't the martial soul awakening ceremony started yet? As expected, after waiting for a while, Tang San ran over from afar. Lu Chen, Grandpa Jack. Tang San greeted him. Xiao San, it's good to be here. The 9 people will be together. The martial soul awakening ceremony is about to begin, children. You all come with me. Under the leadership of Grandpa Jack, a group of 9 quickly arrived at the main hall of the Martial Soul Hall. And there was already a young man waiting in that hall. Tang San looked over curiously, and Lu Chen couldn't help but look at this legendary figure. I saw him looking only in his 20s, with sword eyebrows and starry eyes, a straight and handsome figure, almost catching up with me. Wearing a white formal attire, with a flowing cloak at the back, and a fist-sized soul character in the center of the chest, this is the standard attire for personnel directly under the Martial Soul Hall. There is also a badge on his left chest, symbolizing that he is a war soul master. Is this the legendary Su Yuntao made of iron? Lu Chen raised his head slightly. Indeed, his reputation is well deserved. You should speak well later and come if you have any unpleasant words. Hello, respected soul warrior. Oh, no, Deacon, I'll trouble you this time. Old Jack said respectfully to the young man in front of him. Hee, don't be nervous. I don't have much time, let's start the ceremony now. Village Chief, please go out first. After old Jack left, Su Yuntao turned his head to look at the children in front of him and said, I am the deacon of the Martial Soul Hall, a level 26 great soul master. My profession is War Soul Master, and I am your guide. You will awaken your martial soul here and test your soul power. Only those who possess soul power can become soul masters. He took out 6 black stones and threw them into the air, creating a circle on the ground. You line up and enter one by one, and I will help you awaken your martial soul. You stand still and don't walk, don't be afraid of anything you see later. The children all nodded obediently, and Tang San just watched Su Yuntao quietly. The lone wolf. Possessed. Drank. Barked. Su Yuntao activated his soul power and let out a soft drink, only to see 2 hula hoops appearing on his head, one white and one yellow. At the same time, a wolf figure over 3 meters tall appeared behind him, very powerful, and Su Yuntao's eyes also shone with a dark blue fierce light. This scene immediately scared the other children back a few steps, except for Lu Chen and Tang San who did not move. This slight move was immediately noticed by Su Yuntao. These 2 children seem different, maybe they can become soul masters, Su Yuntao thought to himself. There are 2 forms of martial soul, one is beast martial soul, and the other is weapon martial soul. Of course, there are exceptions, there are also ontology martial soul and elemental martial soul, but they are very rare, and my solo wolf martial soul is beast martial soul. The children nodded inexplicably, and Su Yuntao, without leaving a trace, directly activated his soul power to awaken the martial soul of the child at the forefront. Martial soul. Awakening. Feel well, understand well, open your right hand. Suddenly, a white handkerchief appeared on the right hand of the first child. A handkerchief. I knew it. Your martial soul is a tool. Martial soul handkerchief can only be used to wipe your nose. A martial soul like this without attack power, defense power, or auxiliary ability is a standard useless martial soul. Even if you have soul power, becoming a soul master is not of much use. Su Yuntao said to the child in front of him. But let's test our soul power. Speaking, Su Yuntao took out a blue crystal ball and then extended it in front of the child. I saw the little boy holding the crystal ball with both hands, but the crystal ball showed no reaction at all. The little boy seemed to not give up, holding on to the crystal ball tightly. Tears and snot had already come out, but he held on to the crystal ball, thinking of a miracle happening. Hey! Don't let your nose drip on the crystal ball. Su Yuntao snatched the crystal ball back and frowned as he looked at the crystal ball, which was filled with tears and a runny nose. Soul power is very important for soul masters, as it determines the level and talent of their cultivation. Only those who have soul power during the awakening period can cultivate martial souls and become soul masters. Obviously, this child does not have soul power. That means he doesn't have the qualifications to become a soul master. Next. Martial soul, pot shovel. Soul power, 0. Next. Martial soul, sickle. Soul power, 0. Next. Underscore. Martial soul, brick. Soul power, 0. Next. Underscore. Martial soul, soup bowl. Soul power, not available. Next. 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 7 people were tested in one breath, and Su Yuntao was panting heavily. There were no soul masters in 6 villages. The scene before him did not surprise him, but rather felt very reasonable. He turned his gaze to the remaining 2 children and found that they did not feel as nervous as the other children. Interestingly, these 2 children are really special and hope to become soul masters, he said. Third child, it's your turn. Lu Chen reminded. Tang San nodded and took a very natural stride forward. Tang San had been a person for 2 generations, and although he was curious about everything in front of him, it had not yet reached the point where he was afraid. Seeking collectibles, seeking recommended tickets, constantly updating daily, patiently seeing what comes next. If the protagonist is a bit nonsensical in the early stages, they won't be able to do it in the later stages. P.S. recommends my new book, starting from Douluo and embarking on an endless journey. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Taoge says well. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Taoge says well. Tang San stood in his position, waiting for his martial soul to awaken. In that moment, he felt as if he was wrapped in something very warm. Even Xiantian Gong unconsciously began to operate. In the flickering golden light, the dazzling golden color became even more dazzling than any other child before. Seeing this, Su Yuntao's eyes suddenly lit up. He vaguely felt that he was about to witness a powerful martial soul awaken, and his excitement was overflowing in his words. Saying that he was not excited was false. I'm not mistaken. This child is really not easy. His martial soul is blue silver grass. Underscore. Another useless martial soul. As expected, the golden phoenix cannot emerge from the chicken coop. It seems that the Holy Soul Village is also a waste of time this time. Tang San looked at the blue silver grass in his palm and his face suddenly turned black. Lu Chen, you crow mouth, have you opened your mouth? Just yesterday, Lu Chen said he wanted to hold his thigh, but turned around and said his martial soul was blue silver grass. It's okay to lose a little bit of his mouth. Tang San has become accustomed to it in recent years, but how did he get it right? However, at this moment, Tang San felt a slight movement in his left hand, as if something was about to rush out, but he forcefully pressed it down. Uncle, won't you test my soul power? Blue silver grass, it's just a useless martial soul. How could it possibly have soul power? I don't think it's necessary. Next one, Su Yuntao said lightly. Uncle, just give him a test, it won't waste much time anyway, said Lu Chen. Su Yuntao turned his head to look at Lu Chen, pondered for a moment, and then said, okay, according to convention, no matter what martial soul it is, it needs to undergo a soul power test. Put your hands on the crystal ball. Tang San obediently placed his hand on the crystal ball, and in the next moment, he felt that Xiantian Gong was working on its own, and the internal power in his body was quickly absorbed by the crystal ball. In that moment, the originally calm crystal ball burst into a dazzling brilliance, and everyone was blinded by this dazzling blue light. There. SSR. Lu Chen squinted his eyes and said. What happened? Old Jack, the village chief, suddenly burst in from outside. Surprisingly, it's the 10th level of soul power. Innate full soul power. A person who can reach the highest soul power state when a martial soul is awakened is none other than a peerless genius in the world, but why is it blue silver grass? Su Yuntao couldn't regain his senses for a long time. He looked at Tang San and felt both shocked and disappointed, as well as regretful. Deacon, what is innate soul power? Village chief Old Jack looked at Tang San and then at Su Yuntao. To become a soul master, one must have soul power. The previous few children were unable to cultivate their martial souls because they lacked soul power. Even if their martial souls had a trace of soul power, they could become soul masters. And the innate full soul power is the highest soul power state that can be reached when the martial soul awakens. This kind of person is rare in 100 years, and the entire Douluo continent can be said to have innate full soul power. At the same time, innate full soul power represents the qualification of a soul master. The higher the qualification, the faster the cultivation speed, the higher the starting point, and the ability to directly obtain the first soul ring, advancing from a soul warrior to a soul master. Tang San. Honor your ancestors. God open your eyes. After many years, a soul master has finally appeared in our holy soul village. Old Jack exclaimed excitedly, waving his carrot martial soul wildly in his hand. Don't be too happy too early. Although he has innate full soul power, his martial soul is a waste martial soul blue silver grass. Even if he can practice, he is just a waste soul master. Alas, it's a pity that he has such an innate full soul power. Su Yuntao appeared somewhat disheartened. If his martial soul was not blue silver grass, even if it was just a sickle, it would be great. If he could be recruited into the martial soul hall, then he would. Tang San looked at the blue silver grass in his hand and remained silent for a long time. Is blue silver grass really a useless martial soul? No. There are no useless martial souls, only useless soul masters. Even blue silver grass has its advantages, encompassing everything and constantly growing. Besides, it seems that I have another. And how could old Jack, who has been the village chief for so many years, not know what the blue silver grass martial soul represents? He sighed and expressed regret. Looking at Tang San, who was standing still, he thought he was feeling dejected. He quickly walked up to comfort him and said, "Third, don't be discouraged. Although it's blue silver grass, it's also a soul master, isn't it?" Tang San nodded and stepped back. Lu Chen, are you poisonous? Your crow's mouth actually hit you. Tang San said to Lu Chen with a hint of resentment. It's just a coincidence. The martial soul is innate, not something I can decide. And as you said yesterday, even if Tang San starves to death, don't waste the martial soul blue silver grass. What do you think we should do now? Well. It's Lu Chen's turn to awaken his martial soul, but you need to work hard. Epsilon. Tang San quickly changed the topic. Lu Chen nodded and didn't say much, standing among 6 black stones. There's only one left, and after that, I have to rush to the next village. It's not a waste of time to see the appearance of Xiantian full soul power today. However, it's highly likely that I won't be able to see it in the future. Even top-level sects may not have Xiantian full soul power. Huh, Brother Tao said it well. I'll take your good words for it. I'll be steady now. Come on, I'm ready now. Lu Chen laughed, waiting for your words. Su Yuntao. The awakening ceremony of the martial soul continued, and Su Yuntao used his soul power. The golden light enveloped Lu Chen completely. This feeling is very comfortable, like a flying sensation. Although he did fly, at this moment, Lu Chen couldn't feel it at all. He was completely immersed in his own spiritual world, wandering in it. That was a void, so vast that Lu Chen couldn't see the edge at a glance, empty and chaotic, silent. Suddenly, Lu Chen saw a spot of light not far away, which was colorful and beautiful. He drifted over and got closer, only to realize that the spot of light was actually a huge sphere. A terrifying energy that made him tremble to the point of terror was brewing inside the sphere, like a raging beast in a flood, and as if the earth had collapsed. At this moment, Lu Chen felt his own insignificance, as if everything seemed insignificant in front of him. Time passed by bit, and the energy in the photosphere became even more explosive, as if it was about to explode in the next second. Although Lu Chen knew that all of this was just an illusion, the pressure from the light ball in front of him still made him feel a sense of fear and wanted to hide far away. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Martial Soul Unlimited Gem. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Martial Soul Unlimited Gem. What's going on? Isn't it awakening the martial soul? Why did I see such a scene? Lu Chen was puzzled. Just now, each of them was very smooth when awakening their martial soul. They accepted guidance, opened their right hand, and waited for the martial soul to emerge on its own, and the process was very fast. But why did I inexplicably enter my own spiritual world? And there is also a light sphere in one's own spiritual world that contains incredibly terrifying energy. Time quietly passed, and almost 10 minutes had passed outside. Lu Chen, enveloped in golden light, was still floating in the air, his eyes tightly closed with a calm and peaceful expression, and he had no intention of awakening his martial soul. Deacon, what's going on? Why hasn't Shaochen awakened his martial soul yet? Old Jack looked worried, only reluctantly letting go when he saw that there was nothing unusual about Lu Chen, but he couldn't help but ask Su Yuntao. On the other hand, Su Yuntao was already sweating profusely and gritted his teeth. Previously, his martial soul had awakened and consumed most of his soul power. Unexpectedly, this last one had an accident. I'm not sure either. I've never seen such a situation before. Su Yuntao struggled and said that at this point, the awakening of the martial soul was no longer something he wanted to stop. It was not him guiding Lu Chen, but Lu Chen constantly guiding his soul power. He can only hold on for a few more minutes of his remaining soul power, and if it takes longer, it will be gone, not a drop will be left. In Lu Chen's spiritual world, the light ball was still brewing terrifying energy, and during this period, Lu Chen discovered that as the light ball's energy became more intense, it was twice as large as before. On its surface, Lu Chen can even clearly see the cracks on it. This mysterious light ball seems to be exploding. This is my spiritual world. If it really explodes, what should I do to turn me into an idiot? Do you want me to be Baba in the future? Lu Chen was a bit scared. Why did the awakening of a good martial soul become like this? It shouldn't be the awakening and evolution of Lu Chen's martial soul. Lu Outyan. But the current situation is the awakening and evolution of Lu Chen's martial soul. Lu Aba. I died young. I would rather not cross over and become a deserted house than a fool. Oh my goodness, are you playing with me? As Lu Chen thought, with the expansion of the photosphere, the cracks on the photosphere were already quite obvious, and various colors of light shot out from the cracks, forming columns of light. The light ball is about to explode. Your horse exploded. Lu Chen exclaimed in terror, then was engulfed by a strong light. Externally. At this moment, Su Yuntao's face was quite pale, as if his body had been hollowed out. This soul power has been sucked dry, not a drop left. Other people, except for being in a hurry, don't know what to do when they see the situation. Village Chief Jack waved his carrot martial soul and walked back and forth in the martial soul hall. Tang San, who was standing beside him, also furrowed his brows, which was completely different from their awakening of martial souls. Lu Chen, I've seen for a long time that you're not an ordinary person. Although you're usually a bit arrogant and your mouth is a bit damaged, I still hope you're safe and sound. At that moment, when Su Yuntao's body was completely emptied, a powerful energy burst out from Lu Chen's body centered around him. Everyone in the martial soul hall was pushed to the ground by this energy. In the spiritual world, when everything returned to calm, Lu Chen opened his eyes. In the center of the chaos, 6 gemstones of different colors are quietly suspended in the void. What is that? Lu Chen was puzzled and leaned forward, controlling his body. Getting closer, Lu Chen finally saw what was floating in the center of the chaos. That were 6 magnificent gemstones. Looking at them, Lu Chen seemed to see the supreme power in this world. From those 6 gemstones, each of Lu Chen felt an unparalleled power. Seemingly sensing something, the 6 infinite gemstones suddenly flew towards Lu Chen at lightning speed, one after another, and disappeared into Lu Chen's body in an instant. Boom! Lu Chen's consciousness roared incessantly, his 6 senses were directly closed, and his brain almost made him dizzy during the chaos. I don't know how long it has been, perhaps in a moment, or perhaps forever. When Lu Chen opened his eyes again, he had already left his spiritual space and returned to reality. Ha! Why are you all lying on the ground? Lu Chen just opened his eyes and saw a dramatic scene before him. Lu Chen, you just exploded. Tang San got up from the ground and rubbed his chest. What are you talking about, mistress? Are you drifting away? Or are you brother Lu? I can't wield the sword. Lu Chen gave Tang San a white glance. Oh, I'm such an old bone. Old Jack also got up from the ground, but soon turned his gaze to Lu Chen's right hand. Xiao Chen. What is your martial soul? Upon hearing old Jack's words, Lu Chen shifted his gaze to his right hand, and everyone else's gaze also gathered. I saw 6 gorgeous gemstones slowly spinning around Lu Chen's wrist, like a beautiful gemstone bracelet. This is infinite. Infinite gem. Lu Chen widened his eyes and stuttered as he spoke. He only felt that his brain seemed to be congested and his breathing was a bit rapid, but he still lacked oxygen. Impossible, absolutely impossible. What kind of treasure is an infinite gem? At least a single one is a single universe-level treasure. How could it be presented in the form of a martial soul? This is ridiculous, isn't it? But to say that these 6 infinite gemstones are fake, the information they gave to Lu Chen was no different from the 6 on the annihilation glove in Lu Chen's memory. Moreover, as the owner of the infinite gems, Lu Chen now can truly feel the vast and terrifying energy contained within these 6 infinite gems. All of this seemed to tell him that it was not fake. Xiao San Air, Lu Chen spoke with a soft and weak tone. What's wrong, Lu Chen? Tang San stepped forward and said. Help me, what's wrong, Lu Chen? You've sucked Master Su dry, why are you still so empty? He said with honesty, his body still supporting Lu Chen. Su. Lu Chen's eyes widened as he looked at Tang San and said again, Brother Lu, I am invincible. Are you crazy, Lu Chen? There are countless strong men in the world, who dares to say they are invincible. What do you know? This time is different from the past. Even if I hold Tang San's hand and carry the heavenly abyss with a dog rope, Lu Chen will still be invincible in the world. Lu Chen, I think we should keep our distance, Tang San said as he took a few steps back. I once had a wish, if everyone were willing to give me a reward of 1 yuan, it would be great. I believe I will soon become a billionaire. Epsilon, #end of this chapter. Chapter 6. Low-Key Plays. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Low-Key Plays. Lu Chen saw that Tang San was not supporting him, so he clearly misunderstood his meaning, but was too lazy to explain. How could I possibly lead a man? To pull is also through a rope. Deacon, hurry up and see what the awakened martial soul of Shaochen is. Village Chief Jack quickly lifted Su Yuntao, who was lying on the ground. He felt that a soul saint was about to emerge from the Holy Soul Village. The awakening of the martial soul was extraordinary, Soul Saint. It's a good thing to honor our ancestors. Old Jack helped Su Yuntao to approach Lu Chen. He first gave Lu Chen a deep glance, and then shifted his gaze to Lu Chen's martial soul. Are there 6 gemstones of different colors? Su Yuntao frowned. Although Su Yuntao had helped many people awaken their martial souls, they were all ordinary martial souls, either agricultural tools or vegetables and fruits, and the vast majority of them still lacked soul power. This touched his knowledge blind spot, cough cough. So, isn't Lu Chen? Let's test his soul power first. Su Yuntao pulled out the crystal ball and reached it out to Lu Chen. Lu Chen, on the other hand, stared at the crystal ball and thought to himself, any infinite gem that draws a little energy can burst this crystal ball. Do you want to be high-profile or low-key? Lu Chen didn't know how to choose for a while. What should we do if we start invincible? Looking at the infinite gemstone spinning around his wrist, Lu Chen couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Life is unpredictable. I had originally planned to lick Tang San, but who knew I would be invincible directly? Sure enough, Goldfinger may be late, but he never misses. Then keep a low profile, it's the only way to have fun. Thinking of this, Lu Chen controlled the orange soul gemstone, carefully injecting energy from the gemstone into the crystal ball. Bang! The golden light shines brightly. Liang is blind, Liang is blind. Even Lu Chen was confused. It was clear that he only drew a drop of energy, how could it become a golden legend? Is it because the energy level of Soul Gem is too advanced? Hasty, hasty. And everyone else present squinted their eyes, and Su Yuntao petrified on the spot. What day is today? Is it innate soul power again? I've run out of luck in my life, and one day I met 2 innate full soul powers from the same village at the same time. I used to say it's a once-in-a-century experience, but this slap in the face came too quickly. Not only Su Yuntao, but also Tang San, who was equally shocked, looked at the scene in front of him in astonishment, expressing his inability to understand. Tang San's innate full soul power is due to his cultivation of Xiantian Gong since childhood. What does Lu Chen rely on? What did he not cultivate? Why else did you always fail to beat yourself before? I didn't expect Lu Chen, who usually doesn't show off his beauty, to shine brightly today. This is all fate, Tang San sighed. Although I am also naturally full of soul power, when I look at my martial soul, I know that my blue-silver grass is not as good as Lu Chen's martial soul. However, it seems that I have another martial soul. I will go back and take a look later. Deacon, is my Shaochen also born with full soul power? Old Jack beside him excitedly said. Oh, that's right, it's innate soul power. His martial soul is a 6-colored gemstone, although not top-notch, it is relatively rare and has infinite future potential. He is a rare talent. Su Yuntao's face turned slightly red, and he was serious and talking nonsense. As a noble martial soul palace attendant, how could he embarrass himself in front of these rural people? Do you want to say in front of them that I don't know? My Grand Soul Master doesn't want face. Huh, that's really great. As a result, Holy Soul Village will have 2 Soul Masters this year, both of whom are born with full soul power. Old Jack's face turned red and he looked extremely excited, but then he seemed to have thought of something. Oh, but Holy Soul Village only has 1 quota for part-time students, so what should we do? A working-class student. Tang San asked in confusion. Yes, it's because our village once had a soul saint that we have this quota for working students. Several other villages share the same quota. But this year, our village has produced 2 soul masters at once, but the quota is only 1. As old Jack spoke, Su Yuntao next to him was stunned and almost forgot about the big deal. Don't worry, although there is only 1 quota, it's not impossible, he said. I don't know what the deacon has to do. The method is very simple. Just let this little Lu Chen join the Martial Soul Hall. It's a pity to use his talent to go to the Junior Soul Master Academy in Notting City. If you join the Martial Soul Hall, not only can you gain more learning opportunities, but with Lu Chen's innate talent of full soul power, you will definitely receive high attention from the Martial Soul Hall and obtain more resources. I believe it won't be long before you can become a powerful soul master. Su Yuntao slowly said that if a genius like Lu Chen could be brought to the Martial Soul Hall and carefully trained by the Martial Soul Hall, he might become the backbone of the Martial Soul Hall in the future. And as his guide and wooer, he will also benefit greatly. And when old Jack heard that his cheap grandson he had picked up could join the Martial Soul Hall, his old face lit up with joy. He had never been so happy in his life and immediately wanted to agree, but he still asked Lu Chen softly, Xiao Chen, what do you think? The Martial Soul Hall is a holy land that all soul masters dream of. Joining the Martial Soul Hall will undoubtedly bring unlimited prospects, and the Holy Soul Village will also prosper because of you. This is a good thing to honor our ancestors. Join the Martial Soul Hall. Lu Chen glanced at Tang San. Those who had read Douluo's original work knew that Tang San and his group, except for Ma Hongjun and Oscar, all had a grudge against the Martial Soul Hall. If Lu Chen joins the Martial Soul Hall, he will inevitably go his separate ways with Tang San in the future. After spending the past 6 years together, he doesn't actually dislike Tang San, but he doesn't like the master Yu Shaojiang. As for the reasons, that's quite a lot. His 10 core theories were all obtained through the data of the Martial Soul Hall and the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex. The 10 theories developed by using empty hands to study the white wolf are almost useless. The saying that there are no useless martial souls, only useless soul masters, and they are hitting their own faces. Tang San, who had a natural talent, fortunately told him that if he neglected his cultivation, he was not worthy of becoming his disciple. Although he was a waste, he still held himself high. The things taught are not just mediocre, but also theoretical knowledge that many forces know. Tang San and others have achieved such success through their own efforts, and it has little to do with the master. And his Shrek Academy was even more of a joke, accepting only geniuses, and as a result, they were trained using a low-level training method called load-off-road. Still self-proclaimed as invincible in theory, when it comes to theory, which top power will be weaker in theory? When it comes to martial soul research, the Seven Treasures Glass sect is definitely not bad. It requires money and resources, and the top martial soul Seven Treasures Glass Pagoda cannot break through level 80 for life. A sect will not be as good as a waste in this area of research. PS recommends my new book, starting from Douluo and embarking on an endless journey, end of this chapter. Chapter 7. The Ability of Infinite Gems. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. The Ability of Infinite Gems. Lu Chen looked conflicted and didn't know how to choose. The Infinite Gem Martial Soul had given him too much information, and he didn't want to make a decision so quickly before he could digest it. Can I think about it first? Lu Chen said directly. Well, that's okay. After all, it's about future and destiny, so we need to think carefully. Alright, little one, if you have a plan, why don't you come to the Martial Soul Hall in Notting City to find me? The door of the Martial Soul Hall is always open for you. Suyantao did not choose to continue lobbying. With the influence of the Martial Soul Hall, he believed that one day Lu Chen would come to Notting City to find him. This is your Martial Soul Awakening Certificate. With this certificate, you can enroll in Notting Junior Soul Master College. However, there is only one quota for working students, which is a rule that I cannot change. Alternatively, you can join the Martial Soul Hall. Old Jack took the Martial Soul Awakening Certificate from Su Yuntao's hand and looked at it, smiling and frowning as he squeezed together. It's getting late, I should set off for the next village. Let's say goodbye, Su Yuntao said before leaving alone. Today is really a good day. Xiaochen, you go home first. I'll send Tang San back and tell Tang Hao the good news. Humph. I really don't know what kind of bad luck that drunkard had. He gave birth to such an excellent child. I'll go back first, Lu Chen. Tang San waved goodbye. Lu Chen nodded in response, and then the entire Martial Soul Hall was left with only Lu Chen. Infinite Gem. Lu Chen summoned his martial soul again, then sat down in place and began digesting the infinite gemstones to give Lu Chen a large amount of information. The 6 infinite gems that became the soul of Lu Chen's martial arts have become a part of his body. Lu Chen's ability to use any infinite gems is as simple as eating and drinking water. Unlike the Vanquisher in the Avengers, who requires the presence of infinite gloves to use infinite gems recklessly, and only partially unleashes the power of infinite gems, many abilities have not yet been mastered and proficiently utilized. The purple power gem allows Lu Chen to master and control all forms of power and energy, including gravity, repulsion, and various energy attacks. It can also absorb energy and release it again. It supports other gemstones and can enhance their function. Using this gem, Lu Chen can copy all physical superpowers and make his physical attack and defense abilities unbeatable. People who use power gemstones can possess almost the strongest energy in the universe, and even the slightest release can release shockwaves of energy that can completely destroy a large number of ordinary enemies. There are also purple energy rays specifically designed for power gems, but this is just the roughest and most basic way of using power gems. However, even so, at maximum power, it can even trigger an energy explosion that destroys the planet. In a Marvel movie, there is a scene where Star-Lord hands over the cosmic spirit ball to a collector, who shows them a video of a giant holding a scepter adorned with power gemstones. With just a tap on the ground, the entire planet is destroyed by the power gemstones. The Green Time Gem, this gem can allow Lu Chen to reach any point in time, whether it is the distant past or the distant future. With this power, one can watch or experience any era. Not only that, Time Gem can also do more things, even manipulate time and causality. This allows for the use of Time Gems as a weapon, plunging enemies and the entire world into an infinite cycle of time. Of course, this is just one way of using Time Gems. Time stops, time flows back, time accelerates, time loops, time deletions, predicting the future. Combined with space gems, it can even travel through time and space, go to any place, any point in time, change history, and manipulate causality. The blue space gem, with this gem, Lu Chen can instantly move himself or any object he wants to move to any location, planet, or any space world he can perceive, and even other universes. You can also distort or reorder space according to your own will. Therefore, abilities such as spatial teleportation, spatial confinement, virtualization, teleportation, dimensional storms, spatial folding, spatial displacement, and endless black holes are as simple as breathing in front of the space stone. At the same time, it also contains immense energy, and it is worth mentioning that Captain Marvel's ability comes from the space gem. The yellow soul gemstone has the ability to steal, manipulate, or modify souls. Gems can not only control the soul of life, but even the dead can be commanded by them. It may not sound very powerful, but what rises to the soul level undoubtedly indicates its powerful abilities. The most crucial thing is that this is a world dominated by martial souls, and soul gemstones may have other uses. The red reality gemstone can truly and without exaggeration turn these views into reality. This gem may be the most powerful and also the most difficult to use. But the reality gemstones have merged with Lu Chen, and using them is as simple as eating and drinking water. Users can use it to achieve any dream. All scientific rules and natural laws are meaningless in front of it because it can modify them arbitrarily. Realistic gemstones are not just fantasies that can be created without distinction from reality. As long as Lu Chen is willing, they can completely become reality. If used properly, it can be said to be the most powerful among the six. The orange soul gem can allow Lu Chen to enter the minds of others. It can also allow all dreams, thoughts, and thoughts to enter Lu Chen's brain. In front of this gem, as long as Lu Chen is willing, no one has a secret to speak of. It can enhance spiritual strength and increase spiritual abilities. Even under the condition that other gemstones enhance their power, this gemstone can simultaneously enter the hearts of all things that exist. Even a gentle touch can change the other person's mind, thoughts, will, and beliefs according to Lu Chen's wishes. Simply put, it is the super-enhanced version of the other heavenly gods, which has no usage times, no cooldown time, more features, and stronger abilities. At the same time, the stone of the soul itself also contains tremendous energy. The above are the information feedback from the 6 infinite gems to Lu Chen. Now, these 6 infinite gems have become Lu Chen's martial soul. He can use these 6 infinite gems freely without any side effects, and even snap his fingers without damage when his stamina allows. Like a falling dream. Why do I feel so unreal? Is this invincible? Why don't we give it a try? PS seeks recommended tickets for collection. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Starry Forest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Starry Forest. The previous feedback mentioned that the power gem has elevated my physical attack and defense abilities to an unbeatable level, but why do I feel like there hasn't been much change? Lu Chen touched his body, but his muscles were completely flawless, tender and without any sense of strength. I clenched my fist, and my strength seemed to be much stronger than before, but it's unknown how much. Just give it a try and you'll know. Arriving at a pillar, Lu Chen clenched his small fists and punched it with one punch. Bang! With a loud bang, the entire pillar was shattered under Lu Chen's small fist. The entire martial soul hall shook and dust kept falling from above. Sleeping trough, I haven't even put in all my strength yet. The pillar was smashed by me, and my hands didn't hurt at all. This is really amazing, isn't it? Not to mention 6 infinite gems, just one power gemstone alone is enough for me to walk horizontally in the Douluo continent. Looking at the rubble on the ground, Lu Chen smiles with satisfaction. The growth rate of the power gem is indeed quite awesome. He can accept it even if it cannot reach the level of invincibility as stated in the information. We need to repair this place, otherwise the martial soul hall will collapse later. Lu Chen set his gaze on the time gem, mobilizing its power. On Lu Chen's right hand, a very mysterious green magic formation was formed. Under the influence of this magic formation, time seems to flow backwards, and the shattered stone pillars that were originally blasted are rapidly recovering at a visible speed to the naked eye. In just the blink of an eye, it returned to its original state. It's really possible. This is the power of God. No, even ordinary gods are not qualified to touch the supreme law of time. Lu Chen exclaimed excitedly, grasping the power of time means that he will no longer be affected by time in the future, in other words, he will live forever. I have tried both the power gem and the time gem. Next, I will try the space gem. Space gemstones, as long as it is the place that Lu Chen wants to go, whether it is the edge of the universe or the unknown space, can be reached in an instant. The ability of the space gem was activated, and a pitch-black space channel appeared behind Lu Chen, sucking him in the next second. When Lu Chen reappeared, he had already returned to his own home through the spatial channel, which was the home of the village chief, Old Jack. You can go wherever you want. If you get tired of staying in Douluo world in the future, you can go to other worlds in the universe to play. Watching the dazzling blue light emitted by the space gem, Lu Chen nodded in satisfaction. But I've been in Holy Soul Village for long enough. I used to have no strength, but now I'm not the same as before. Why don't I go out and explore? Just do what you think. Now Lu Chen has the qualification to be so stubborn. The ability of the space gem was once again activated, and it locked onto a relatively distant destination without choosing to use the space channel, but moved directly in an instant. Where is this? The scene in front of him changed, and Lu Chen looked at the tall and lush trees around him. The chirping of insects and the chirping of birds gave him a thriving scene, and he couldn't feel the direction for a moment. Take a stroll in any direction. I'm not sure if you'll encounter soul beasts. Along the way, Lu Chen looked like a curious baby, always approaching to observe any novel things. There was a snail that could spray ink, but luckily Lu Chen's reaction was quick enough to avoid it. There were very beautiful big butterflies, and when they got closer, Lu Chen realized that these butterflies were actually very terrifying and disgusting. The flapping wings would release a colorless and tasteless powder. Lu Chen inhaled some and did not feel any discomfort, but he knew that it was because his body had been transformed into an infinite gem. If it were someone else, he would probably have been hit. Let's go die for this disgusting thing. With a lift of Lu Chen's hand, the purple power gemstone shimmered, and a purple ripple spread out in all directions. The colorful butterflies surrounding Lu Chen all turned into powder and dissipated. Only hundreds of white soul rings remain in the air, one of which is still a yellow century-old soul ring. Looking at these soul rings, Lu Chen suddenly had a question. What kind of soul ring should he find for himself, or do he need a soul ring? I think you don't need a soul ring, but wouldn't it look too special without one? Lu Chen thought as he walked, even if you are a Douluo, you can easily kill in seconds now. After all, the world of Douluo continent is just a low martial world. Hey, why are you thinking so much now? Let's talk about it when we go to the Junior Soul Master Academy. With the infinite gem, I can really tidy up the master and let him appear in front of Tang San. Boom, boom, boom. Just as Lu Chen was pondering, the distant roar caught his attention. What's going on? What's going on ahead? Lu Chen followed the sound and noticed that nearby trees were falling one after another, as if a raging beast was driving towards him. As the noise grew louder, some birds and animals scattered and fled. It seems like a big guy. Lu Chen was a bit excited. No matter what came, he was not afraid of even 100,000-year-old soul beast. He stood in place, waiting for its arrival. After a while, when it arrived in front of Lu Chen finally saw its appearance. Digging a trench, what a big monkey. No, it's a gorilla. Lu Chen looked at the gorilla in front of him, which was several floors high. He saw that its whole body was covered in mysterious golden patterns, and its huge body was like a moving fortress. Wherever it went, all those towering trees in the sky were knocked open by it. It seemed to have discovered Lu Chen, intending to step down with one foot, but suddenly changed its mind, changed direction, and fled towards the distance. Isn't this a titan ape from 100,000 years old? How could it appear here? Is this the Star Forest? Lu Chen shook his head. It seemed like it was trying to crush me just now, but it changed its mind. The soul beasts are so kind now. But it seems like I saw a figure in the hand of the Titan ape. Isn't she Xiaowu? So it's Xiaowu who made the Titan ape change his mind, right? According to the current timeline, Tang San will depart for the Junior Soul Master Academy in Nodding City in 2 days. Is this Titan ape protecting little Dance from the Star Forest? After a brief analysis, Lu Chen felt that the possibility was very high. Interesting, the 100,000-year-old rabbit, no, the 100,000-year-old lowly, since I have met her, how can I still say hello, right? Lu Chen thought to himself, his right foot exerting force, and the entire ground cracked open, shooting out like a shell. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. AOAO carat O carat. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 AOAO carat O carat Ming. Did you just want to kill that child? Xiao Wu stood on Ming's palm, hands akimbo, and said with a displeased expression. Xiao Wu, he is a human being. Humans are the enemy of our soul beasts, said Ming wrongly. He's just a child. Remember, don't do this again next time, otherwise I'll be angry. Xiao Wu pouted, pretending to be very angry. Got it, Xiao Wu, but why would a human child approach the depths of the starry forest? Ming asked his own question. Ha! I really find it strange that you're saying that. How did a human-like child get to the depths of the starry forest? There weren't any powerful soul masters around to protect him. Xiao Wu frowned, feeling that this was very strange. Ming, let's go back. If it's just an ordinary human child, beat him unconscious and take him out. Xiao Wu thought for a moment and decided to turn back. And just as Xiao Wu and Ming were preparing to return the same way, a thin figure stood in front of them. Stop. Let go of that girl. Lu Chen pointed at the Titan ape and said sternly, while also activating the Emperor acting mode. Xiao Wu and Ming were immediately confused by Lu Chen's operation. Under normal circumstances, wouldn't seeing such a large soul beast mean running away? Why did the emotions come over to save me? Titan ape, forest overlord, are you a bit close? Don't be afraid, little sister. I'll come and save you right away. Lu Chen shouted loudly to Xiao Wu, who was standing in the palm of the Titan ape. Ming, take him out of the shock zone. Xiao Wu looked at Lu Chen in silence and whispered to Ming. Ow! With a roar from Ming, the pressure from the 100,000-year-old Titan ape was invisibly released. I believe that this ignorant little ghost in front of me would be knocked out in no time. But what shocked Xiao Wu was that after shouting for a long time, the little ghost in front of her actually had nothing to do and still stood straight there. Ah! Why is my head a bit dizzy? No way. I can't faint, little sister. I'll come and save you right away. Ming, this child is indeed not easy, but he said he is about to faint. Obviously, he won't be able to hold on for long. He was stunned. Xiao Wu heard what Lu Chen said and immediately ordered Ming to continue. Oh, the roar continued, and the low-level soul beasts in the starry forest scattered and fled upon hearing the roar of the Titan ape. For a moment, there was no soul beast present within a radius of more than 10 kilometers. Damn it, why am I so weak? Do I have to watch my little sister be killed by a soul beast? I can't faint. Lu Chen hugged his head with both hands, pretending to be in pain, almost unable to bear it. Ming, come on, he's about to faint, Xiao Wu said to Ming. Oh, the pressure from the Titan ape, which has been around for 100,000 years, continues to be released. A Category 12 hurricane is blowing around the Titan ape, and the surrounding trees are swaying and uprooted. It can be imagined how terrifying the pressure of the forest hegemon is. Ah! My head hurts so much. I can't do it anymore. I'm going to faint, it's too strong. Lu Chen hugged a giant tree and pretended to be blown away. Ming is really going to faint. He's about to succeed, come on. Oh. _ 1 hour later. Ah! Is this the legendary lion roar technique? My 7 orifices are bleeding, and I'm really dying. My consciousness is about to blur. Using the real gem, Lu Chen created some fake blood for himself, which was extremely realistic. Ming Jia. Xiaowu, my head is so dizzy, I can't do it anymore. Ming felt like he was about to die, and at this moment, his brain was extremely hypoxic. He felt like the world was about to flip over. Lu Chen saw that the Titan ape had already felt dizzy, and immediately used the power of the soul jewel to add fire to it. In Xiao Wu's stunned expression, the forest overlord Titan ape collapsed with such a loud bang. Wow, the gorilla has fallen. I'm here to save you, little sister. Lu Chen walked 2 or 3 steps to Xiao Wu's side, showing an innocent smile and saying, little sister, I'm here to save you. Come with me quickly. Ah. But. Xiao Wu looked at Ming, who had fainted, and at the innocent human child in front of her. This situation was not right. But what's wrong? If we don't leave, this gorilla will wake up. We can't both leave later, said Lu Chen, as Xiao Wu was stunned. He grabbed Xiao Wu's hand and left the area. After arriving at a safe area, Lu Chen stopped and carefully examined the 100,000-year-old lowly. She is about the same height as herself, with pink and jade carved cheeks, skin that can be blown and broken, bright red eyes that are very agile. The rabbit ear decoration on top of her head makes her already cute even more charming. The carrot-shaped shoulder bag seems to contain a lot of things. Lu Chen estimated that there should be carrots inside, and if there is a chance, she should introduce Grandpa Jack to her. I believe this rabbit will like Grandpa Jack. It's really great, I finally rescued you from the gorilla. Lu Chen showed an innocent smile again. And Xiao Wu looked at the place where Ming fainted in the distance and forced out a very forced smile. Thank you, I really thank you, oh. Ha ha ha, you don't have to be polite. Helping others is my strength. Xiao Wu was a bit speechless. Where did this strange child come from? It's okay to run alone into the depths of the starry forest, but at such a young age, he can withstand the pressure of a soul beast for 100,000 years without any problems. Who are you? How could you have run into the depths of the starry forest? So who are you? How could you have run to the depths of the starry forest and been caught by that gorilla? Lu Chen asked with a suppressed smile. Why should I tell you? Of course, Xiao Wu couldn't tell Lu Chen that she was a soul beast, but how should she explain her appearance in the depths of the starry forest? Oh, I see. You also ran out of your home and got lost, right? Ah. Yes, I got lost and was caught by the second gorilla. Fortunately, you rescued me. I really thank you, oh. But you're amazing. Even though you're about the same age as me, that gorilla can't do anything about you. Why is that? Xiao Wu's agile eyes twirled, wanting to ask something from Lu Chen's mouth. Why? Maybe it's because I'm too strong. Waha, by the way, my name is Lu Chen, I don't know your name. Lu Chen answered perfunctorily, while changing the topic. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Hope for the entire village. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Hope for the entire village. Cut, be stingy. Just don't tell me. My name is Xiao Wu, a dancing dance. Xiao Wu. Your name sounds really nice. Lu Chen touched the back of his head, showing a silly look. Of course. What's your surname, then? I don't know you, why should I tell you? Xiao Wu was taken aback for a moment. When asked by Lu Chen, she suddenly realized that she didn't know her surname. Mom has always called herself Xiao Wu. Oh, where did this strange child come from? Let's quickly take him out of the star forest. Hey, I'm your lifesaver. Who? Who wants you to save? Mind your own business, don't talk so much nonsense. This is the star forest, let's leave quickly. Although he said that, Lu Chen noticed that Xiao Wu was clearly hesitant. Now their position is still relatively close to the depths of the Starry forest, and there is still a considerable distance from the border of the Starry forest. This distance will definitely encounter many powerful soul beasts. With Xiaowu's current strength, encountering any soul beast is extremely dangerous. And Erming was knocked unconscious by his own soul gem, probably unable to wake up for a while. But she can't bring herself back to Erming's side, otherwise she'll be exposed, leaving here. Do you know the way? Lu Chen looked up at the sky and found that the originally clear sky suddenly became overcast, accompanied by lightning and thunder, and the entire starry forest suddenly darkened. And in a place that Lu Chen couldn't see, a huge soul beast with a cow head and snake body was watching Lu Chen and Xiaowu not far away. The arrival of Tianqing bull python did not conceal Lu Chen's perception, and it is believed that Xiaowu has also discovered it. Therefore, Xiaowu will definitely take action in the future to avoid revealing her identity. And Lu Chen also didn't want to expose his too strong strength too early. When facing Erming before, he had already acted too beyond reason. So Lu Chen plans to finish playing here today and see how Xiaowu acts later. Xiaowu looked at the cloudy sky and a familiar voice rang out in her mind. Xiaowu, what happened? What happened to Erming? Great, Daming. You finally arrived. I'll talk to you about this later, and you'll find a way to make the strange child next to me dizzy. Humans. How could human children appear here? I also find it strange that Erming's pressure has no effect on him at all. Xiaowu glanced at it, impossible. How could a mere human child withstand the pressure of a soul beast for 100,000 years? Is it possible that he has some kind of powerful soul guide on his body? Maybe, okay, now's not the time to say that. I've already wasted too much time. If it's too late, it will delay my registration for the college. You'd better make this strange kid dizzy. Okay, although I'm not a spirit beast, I still know how to use some basic spiritual power. I'm more than enough to deal with a child. Speaking of which, Tianqing bull python launched a spiritual attack on Lu Chen. Ha! It seems like it's going to rain, and my clothes are still confiscated. Halfway through Lu Chen's words, he felt the heavenly blue bull python launch a spiritual attack on him. However, Lu Chen had a spiritual gem, and this spiritual impact had no effect on him. But Lu Chen still pretended to faint. He had played enough today, and if he came out too long and was discovered, it wouldn't be good. And in a few days, we will set off with Tang San to the Junior Soul Master Academy in Notting City, and then play with this 100,000-year-old rabbit. Xiaowu breathed a sigh of relief as she watched Lu Chen fall to the ground. If it weren't for Deming's arrival, she really didn't know what to do. With her current self, she wouldn't be able to leave the Star Forest and return to Erming's side in front of him. In such a dangerous place, I still care about the collection and confiscation of clothes at home. It's really a strange child. Watching Lu Chen faint on the ground, Xiaowu dragged him towards Erming and told Deming everything that had just happened. Xiaowu, this human child may not be that simple. If you don't kill him, it's better not to have too much involvement with him. Don't worry Daming, I'll take him out of the Star Forest later. I'll set off for Notting City. You and Erming should also hurry back. Outside the Starry Forest, when the Titan Ape, Tianqing bull python, and Xiaowu both left, the dust lying in the grass finally got up from the ground. Xiaowu. She looks really cute, but she's quite pitiful. Her father was eaten by a soul beast in the land of great ferocity, and her mother was killed by Bibi Dong while trying to cover her escape. Lu Chen muttered to himself as he watched Xiaowu leave, but we'll see each other soon. The power, time, space, soul, and reality gemstones have all been tried, but the soul gemstones have not been tried yet. After the test, it's about time to return to the Holy Soul Village. Why don't you go take a stroll around that so-called great evil place? I remember there are many powerful soul beasts in the core circle. The life lake in the core circle is guarded by the Silver Dragon King who is sleeping, the Emperor's Heavenly Golden Eye Black Dragon King, as well as soul beasts such as Biji, the 10,000 Demon King, the Dark Gold Terror Claw Bear, the Red King, the Hell Demon Dragon King, and the Demon Spirit. There are also many unknown 100,000-year soul beasts, as well as the Emperor's auspicious beast, the three-eyed Golden Lion. Let's forget it, it doesn't seem good to be so arrogant on the first day of obtaining the infinite gem. After thinking for a while, Lu Chen finally gave up on this idea. It wasn't because he was afraid of them, but because the identity of the Silver Dragon King was involved in many things, it was difficult to attract the attention of the divine realm. Before mastering the ability of infinite gems proficiently, it was better to be as low-key as possible. After looking back at the starry forest, Lu Chen urged the space gem to leave. Holy Soul Village. Through the ability of the space gem, Lu Chen appeared accurately in his room. It smells so good, it seems to be coming from the kitchen. Entering the kitchen, Lu Chen saw old Jack busy alone, just as he happened to take out freshly prepared food from the pot. Oh. Xiao Chen, you're back. I was just going to find you. Today is a great day. I made your favorite bandit duck, thief chicken, villain fish, and rogue meat. Grandpa Jack, can you finish cooking so much? If you can't finish eating, take it with you and eat on the way. In a few days, you'll be heading to Nodding City. If you want to eat again, you'll have to wait for a year. After arriving at school, you should study hard. Do you know that becoming a soul master is something that many people dream of? Our Holy Soul Village, this time in 10 Mile 8 villages, is very proud, Xiao Chen. You are the hope of the whole village. End of this chapter.